This is totally the dawn of the golden age. Like, we have been waiting for this, not only this lifetime, but for thousands, if not tens of, maybe even more. But it has been so much work. Hello and welcome, everyone, to our 30th episode of Awakening to Ascension. We made it 30 days. Yeah! So today's Friday. So every Friday, our topic is extraterrestrial focused, and today's specific topic is understanding star nations. And I'm pretty stoked for this one. So a star nation is a collective of like different species, right? That live on different planets, like aliens. And there's a ton of different nations. So like you've got the Pleiadians from the Pleiades. You've got Arcturians from Arcturus. You've got Lyrans from Lyra. You've got what are some other ones I can't think of? Sirians from Sirius, which is like the Orion belt, right? Is that? Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then I think like Draconians from Draconis, and all of these star nations, all the different ones, like they interact with us in ways that we are not aware of. Well, some of us are aware of it. And we spoke about this a few weeks ago or last week, where there's just like so much possibility for extraterrestrial existence, but there's such little proof. And then we have these different star nations that are like part of our DNA, right? So like we come down into Earth with as like a hodgepodge of different ones of them. And I have begun to recognize the ones that I'm with or the ones that I resonate with. And a good way to do this is because there's a lot of people that don't know, like, they're like, yeah, I feel like I don't really belong on Earth. I feel like I'm from somewhere else, but they don't know exactly like how to discern or differentiate which ones they are. And a good way to do that, I think I've mentioned this in a previous episode, where you can just ask the question, like, is this something like, am I Pleiadian? And like the answer that comes right through, we're like, yeah or no. Yes, Jenee.
I just saw an orb going past you as you were speaking. I'm sure that we can play this back, but as you were speaking, it moved from my left, so your right, and it went across the back of your head, like by the ceiling. Sorry, I just got excited. I was like, oh, ooh. And we just have to acknowledge the fact that Alex is wearing a Star Wars t-shirt. And we just need to take a moment right here, right now, to just put our hands in Anjali Mudra and bow down, because he is just, he's the embodiment of just a genuine human being, and everything that we should be here. So thank you for coming on to our Friday episode, dressed and ready for this topic. And I just obviously now need to get into the topic and get past my excitement. But to give you all an idea about each of these galactic races that, as Alex said, some are connecting with, and it's known as channeling. So you can channel through to these species if your frequency is of the caliber that you can meet them at. That's why it's so important to do all these cleanses and all of the practices that we are busy discussing, so that you can raise your frequency. But to give you an idea of the different races, so your Pleiadians are your empaths, and they hold the codes of love and music and art. And if you feel the calling to heal the heart of humanity, then you have Pleiadian light in you. And then you have the Arcturians, who are the architects, and they are masters of sacred geometry. and they also have frequency healing. So they are here to bridge the gap between spirituality and between technology. And then you have the Sirians, and the Sirians are the keepers of wisdom, and they hold the blue ray frequency. And as Alex also mentioned, the Lyrans, they are the root race. So it just gives you a little bit of an idea of these different civilizations that are co-currently existing while we are existing in this human form. And we need to understand that this isn't something that you learn, it's something that you remember. And something so profound is if you look up at the stars and you feel a frequency shift, it's basically a DNA handshake. You are connecting with a civilization that you are unable to see with the physical eye. Some are not able to see them. And if you feel that innately within you, then speak to us and speak to other practitioners, because we can help guide you and make you understand a little bit more about remembering who you are. Marlene.
So coming back to the Sirians, for example, being the star race, um, they were known, or they are known for working as the engineers, and they also helped the Egyptians, for example, with the pyramids and the building of those kinds of things, which I find totally fascinating. And you'll see that those kinds of people are drawn to certain places like Egypt, and they go and do a lot of exploration, and that is part of their soul remembrance in that particular time. So the other thing that they are so known for is the oceans, the whales, and the dolphins. So you'll find that some people are absolutely drawn to spending time at the ocean. They go diving. They really are like it's their second home. It's like where they find the most peace and joy. And that's also how you tell where you have roots and where you've come from. The other one that I find totally amazing as well is the Lyrans. So the Lyrans are the cat people, the Sekhmet, it's the Egyptian goddess. Um, they carry the energy of absolute strength, authority, and as Jenee has spoken about, it's the ancient wisdom of times gone by. So that is what I would like to add right now. And over to Alex.
Thank you, Marlene and Jenee. That was very useful information. Something came to me when you were talking about the Sirians, because I do connect with them. I feel like I'm deeply resonant with them. And whenever I channel them, well, it's usually like them with the Andromedans, right? So like you'll have the Sirians and the Andromedans, and they seem to be very connected with one another, or I'm just unable to differentiate the two. But so when I channel those collectives, Sirius, in particularly, I seem to get like downloads about how to operate my business, like business ideas. And as Jenee mentioned earlier, that they are the keepers of wisdom, like that made a lot of sense. And then I also had another method of learning which nation you resonate with, based on what Jenee was saying. If you go outside and you just find yourself looking up at the sky and you find yourself consistently looking at like the same constellation, that's like your instincts. Like you're looking at your home, like a home that you used to live at, or where you came from, and that's how one way that you can find out what nation you resonate with. Marlene.
I can add on that one. The Seven Sisters cluster is that is the belonging of the Pleiades. So that is one of the most beautiful that people will actually look up to the sky for. And they are just such heart-centered people that do the healing, the emotional expansion. And they also help us very much to transition into the 5D realm. So totally, it's one of those magical things. And here in South Africa, it's always the best thing to get out into the countryside and to get away from all of the lights. And then you just even lie on the ground and you look up at the magnificent galaxies above you. And your heart just absolutely, or my heart just absolutely opens up, and I become enamored, and the longing and the connection is just incredible. Jenee.
So I'd like to say that what Alex mentioned in the beginning about DNA, that we do hold the DNA of these civilizations, and you may resonate more towards a specific civilization, or you could resonate with all of the civilizations. And I would like to add, for those of you listening, that Alex, myself, and Marlene are composite souls, and we have existed many lifetimes across many star nations, and we are here to ground the frequency, and we are here specifically in this moment on Earth right now. And I would also like to just let you all know, if you wanted to have an idea of what these beings look like. And I'll start just with the Octarians. And the Octarians are these tall, slender beings, and they have a blue-violet hue to their skin, and their eyes are really big, and they're almond-shaped. And when you stare into them, it's as though they are pools of stars. And they have such a high frequency, and they vibrate so fast that they almost appear translucent and like shimmering glass. And their civilization is these cities, not buildings. So it's cities of floating cathedrals made of light and crystal. And they gather in these chambers of light to do healing frequencies of the soul. And your Pleiadians have a more human-like form, and their skin and their hair is so glowing, and they're beautiful in their appearance. They have these extremely deep blue, bright blue, green eyes. And they are also just this innocent, youthful feel and elegance about them. And they stay in a world just like Earth. And what they have is these lush jungles and trees, and they live within the nature. So they don't live on top of it, they live in it. And they also embody, they live in these capsules of light, and they gather and they dance, and there's music, and they just embody that unity amongst themselves. And your Lyrans have these sharp eyes, and they've got high cheekbones, and they come across as these regal beings. And they again are the root race. So they are very rooted and fiery within their spirits. And when you come to understand and understand, because it's not a learning, remember, this is a remembrance. So when you understand these life forms and the frequencies that they all hold, and the frequencies that you embody yourself, when we are able to work with one another, because I am not a human trying to be spiritual. I am a galactic citizen who is in a dense human body. And when you understand that and truly realize that we are all a part of the universe, and they want to live amongst us, and humanity has become so dense on earth that we've forgotten, our egos have really taken the front seat and the steering wheel, and we've forgotten this light that's within us. And when you can understand that we are all one, it is the most incredible experience that you will ever embark on. And we are now a part of the beginning of the golden age. It has begun. The new earth is upon us, and we are forming these beautiful communities, and all of the galactic citizens are finding one another because we're remembering why we came here. So Marlene is extremely emotional because it's a remembrance. It's truly, truly remarkable. And Alex is going to close us off. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. And this is totally the dawn of the golden age. Like, we have been waiting for this, not only this lifetime, but for thousands, if not tens of, maybe even more. But it has been so much work, and we don't just do the work in the three-dimensional world. We do multi-dimensional work. Like, we work in our dreams, we work in the astral realm, we work in the ether, we work just like everywhere, and it's exhausting. And a lot of us are doing it unconsciously, subconsciously. I mean, I'm doing it consciously as well. But I also want to mention that if you at any point got any like goosebumps or chills while Jenee was talking about those different alien races, there's a good chance that that's connected to you. So if your body like responded, it's like, well, you're remembering something. You're remembering your family, your soul family, your heritage. So keep that in mind whenever you hear a message about a different extraterrestrial group. If it gives you goosebumps or chills, your body's like, yeah, I remember that. And I think Jenee, actually, before I close up, I think she had a light something or other, a special treat for us today. Go ahead,
I,
Jenee.
I do. So I have written a light decree for us to end this episode. And again, it's awakening to ascend, and we are in the midst of doing a 90-day activation. This is not just a podcast. This is a remembrance, and this is an awakening to ascend, and it's an awakening together. So I would like to close this episode with a light decree, and I will be reading. So what you can do as the listener and the viewer is close your eyes. You're going to place your left hand on your heart and your right hand on your solar plexus. I'd like you to breathe into the space behind your eyes. It's the seat of your inner vision. Breathing deeply. You're going to repeat these words with the authority of your soul. I say your name. Standing in my sovereign authority as an architect of the new earth, hereby call upon my galactic lineage. I invoke the blue-violet ray of Octarius. I activate the sacred geometry within my cells. Let the blueprints of divine order and crystalline structure be anchored in my mind and my work now. I invoke the emerald and rose light of the Pleiades. I activate the frequency of unconditional love. Let my heart become a tuning fork for the rhythm of the universe. I invoke the golden fire of Lyra. I activate the original codes of sovereignty and divine power. I reclaim my fierce independence and my right to create from the void. I decree that the DNA of my biological vessel is now online. I bridge the stars and the earth. I am a universal library in motion. I no longer am a seeker. I am a beacon. It is done. It is anchored. It is sovereign. And so it is. Take a deep breath in and exhale out. Welcome to the new earth. Thank you.
Oh, that was so cool. That was so cool. Straight goosebumps like the whole way through. That felt so great. Thank you, Jenee. That was awesome. I love that. So I hope you like
So
this episode.
I was called to do that. That was my message for this episode from them to do this tonight.
Very cool. So cool. So cool. I hope you guys liked today's episode. Please remember to like, subscribe, and if you know what your Star Nation is, drop that in the comments and see how many different races we can get in there. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.